I mean, there's an imperfection to the white allyship too, of, sort of the three the three main characters are almost over the top in their performativeness of this white allyship, and
Yeah.
you know, overly sensitive to language, overly sensitive to how they're giving space or taking space, or like there's some satire in that, I guess, or some exaggeration, but as you say, you kind of need that white allyship too. Like it's an imperfect allyship, just simply because of the power structure in this country. That like you need them on board, but yet there's a lot of baggage sometimes that can come with that allyship.
Mhm.
Is that a fair
Yeah.
read, you think?
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, I would say too, people think I'm um, being especially satirical. But I've said again and again, 80% of the lines in the Thanksgiving play are directly from my life. I
Wow.
write down all the crazy shit people say to me. And the craziest stuff, like, isn't in there because people didn't believe it. The
Yeah.
stuff that people actually have said to me. Like, I had a theater supporter once at a dinner for a theater company. It was an Indigenous, it was something my company, Indigenous Direction, was working on as far as facilitating a meeting between this theater company and these Indigenous folks that were visiting the area, et cetera. So we had facilitated this whole week of events and things, and we're at this big, like, donor dinner kind of thing for the event, for the week. And I'm sitting at this table. I'm one of the main, speakers of this evening, and talking to this woman before I get up and speak. And she's a big, East Coast, young 30s theater supporter. And when we got done talking, I was like, oh, well, I have to get going because, I'm up to speak. She's like, oh, and she asked who I was. And I gave her my name, Larissa FastHorse. She said, FastHorse, are you Native American? And I said, yeah. And she's like, I never would have guessed. You're so well spoken. That
Hmm.
was just a few years ago, like with
Yeah.
a woman in her 30s, like, I mean,
Right.
the things that are being said, like, and I tried to put something like that in the play, and everyone's like, no one would say that. And I was like, well, they
Yeah.
do. So,
It has. Yeah.
we're dealing with people, those things that are said in my play that sound satirical are just straight out of my life, and they're
Yeah.
constant. But yes, all that said, then yes, we need that. But I want those people to be allies, right? And
Right.
I've said, somewhat whatever, provocatively in the past. You have this play called "What Would Crazy Horse Do?" that deals with a particular branch of the Klan that I became very interested in. That's actually a registered lobbying group in our country, and they seem they've rebranded themselves in a brilliant way, and they seem very okay, like very soft clan, and
Yeah.
so clan light, if you will. But their core beliefs are terrifying. And I said, when I dealt with one of these members, this guy Michael in new member services, that he and I emailed for a couple of years as my research for this piece. I was very open with what I was doing, and I was like, it was actually easier to deal with Michael in the clan
Yeah.
than it is for many well-meaning white allies in my field, in my liberal field, because at least we knew each where we're coming from, and it was clear, and we could just talk to each other. We knew what was happening. We moved forward together in this weird way for 2 years of correspondence, where with really well-meaning liberal white folks, they put themselves in such pretzels with such fear of making a mistake that nothing happens, and we just talk
Right.
in these circles. I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about. Like, we just can't communicate. And so that's really, what I'm talking about.